Located in the heart of
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Missouri Sports Network. It's Friday Night Live here on the Missouri Sports Network, MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. And I apologize if you can't hear me that well, because seems like every day I have this happen here. Maybe this will get it fixed. You're watching and listening live to the Missouri Sports Network. It's Friday Night Live High School Football Scoreboard Show. And we'll be visiting here with coaches throughout the show and running down through the scores. Most of them are not complete at this time. We will run through what we have here early on. We're expected here to be joined by Corey Schweiss, head football coach at Park Hill Central, as they got a double overtime win last night. He'll be joining us at 9:45. Also from Archie, Drew Smith, as they get a win tonight over Rich Hill. So he's kind enough to join us as well. And we've reached out to a few other coaches. So we will do what we can here to get this audio corrected. And I do apologize. Seems like I would be able to figure this out by now. And I have not. But anyway, show tonight brought to you, as always, by Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks. Great Southern Bank with more than 100 locations in 6 states. Great Southern Bank, understanding what really matters. Member FDIC. Also presented by Lyuna Laborers Local 663, Building, Missouri, and reminding us, hey, drive safely in those work zones. Those folks want to go home to their families as well. Also presented by Doak Propane. Doak Propane for all your propane needs. See the folks at Doak in Polk County and surrounding counties. And also presented by the Bank of Billings. The Bank of Billings, established in 1889, the oldest bank in Christian County. Well, the score has just gone final. Neosho defeats Lebanon 28-14. And for the first time since 2016, Neosho is off to a 3-0 start. So congratulations to the Wildcats. For those of you tuning in on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, which is the only way you can tune in, you can send us a message. Send us a message on YouTube at YouTube Live or Facebook Live. Hey, be sure to follow us. Get all the updates from all the scores from around the state. Interviews, our Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks Athlete of the Week, our Teams of the Week, our Where Are They Now Wednesdays, Huddle Up, and on deck as well. And our Tournament of the Week. Let me jump in here on the scores right now. Just kind of fill you in on what we have at this time. From last night, high school football scores on September 12th, it was Park Hill Central in double overtime over Fredericktown, 42-34. Also, Fort Zumwalt East defeated University City 32-6. It was Hazelwood West over Melville, 38-25. Burlington, Kansas defeats Miller, 33-20. It was St. Francis out of Texas over Live for Life, 43-22. On the scoreboard for tonight, we'll start off with the 8-man scores that we have at this point. And breaking news, UNLV just defeated Kansas 23-20. That is in football. In 8-man football, we have Lockwood over Jasper 64-6. Archie defeats Rich Hill 64-8. Rockport over Stewartsville 70-0. It was Plattsburgh over Schuyler County 46-42. Elsewhere in 8-man football was Worth County over North Andrews 64-6. Moving into 11-man football, Lamar, as they defeat Tipton 44-0. A very good Tipton team, but obviously we know Lamar. And Marionville over Skyline 54-6. Elsewhere it was Bowling Green as they continue to pile up points over Wright City 56-13. Brookfield over Highland 62-0. It was Mid-Buchanan. Mid-Buchanan defeats Centralia 41-6. Scores, as always, brought to you by the Missouri State Highway Patrol, who remind us, hey, drive safely, but take that 3 seconds and put your seatbelt on. Update from from Waynesville. Willard leads Waynesville 46-42. That game's still going on. So I mentioned also Palmyra defeats Macon 56-14. Valley Catholic over Potosi 61-7. Warsaw defeats Lafayette County 21-16. Elsewhere, Blair Oaks defeats Osage 42-0. It was Lutheran North over John Burroughs 54-7. Seneca defeats Nevada 42-0. What a statement game there by the Indians, and we'll be visiting with Indians head coach Cody Hilburn at 10:05. In other games, was Borgia over St. Dominic 31-10. Elsewhere, Branson shuts out Bolivar 35-0. Branson's had a couple of impressive games this year. Bolivar coming off of an overtime win last week over Harrisonville. Carl Junction shuts out Monette 36-0. Cape Central over Sykeston 56-16. Hillsboro defeats Washington 37-0. It was Kirksville over Savannah 7-6. Scott City defeats Hayti 70-32. Festus over Windsor 49-14. Camdenton defeats Smith Cotton 45-13. CBC over Chaminade 48-4. I may have read that, maybe a misprint. Midway defeats Russellville 37-14. Carthage over Glendale 49-14. Hazelwood East shuts out McClure 35-0. It was Neosho over Lebanon. That game just gone final 28-14. Elsewhere at Nixa, wow, 49-0 over Joplin. Two Class 6 state-ranked teams, and Nixa shuts them out. Willow Springs defeats Kabul 14-13. DeSmet over Slough 23-3. Games tomorrow. Grandview is at Cuba. Bishop LeBlond at Knox County. Thayer is at Mountain View Liberty. Parkway West will be at McClure North. Lutheran South is at Priory. Kelly is at Rolla. Jennings is at Roosevelt. Miller Career is at TDW Prep. And final here, Forsyth defeats Hollister 36-14. Elsewhere tomorrow, Northeast Kansas City is at University Academy. Fort Zumwalt East is at U City, and MICDS is at Westminster Academy. We're going to take a quick time out here, see if I can figure out a little bit on my mic, and another score just coming in. Charleston over Malden, 54-20. So we'll take a quick break, and I'll see what I can do here on this microphone, and we'll be back after these messages.
I'll have the avocado toast, minus the avocado.
So, toast.
Everything is so expensive these days.
Hey, Chevy gets it. That's why they're keeping prices down to earth, like on the most affordable EV in America. A super strong and capable Chevy truck. And a high-tech Chevy SUV. Why is Chevy making affordable vehicles connected by OnStar? It's so together, we can do more.
We believe banking should make your life greater. It starts with affordable options to meet today's needs and tomorrow's dreams. From smart account options that fit your style to flexible loans for what comes next. It means convenient ways to access and manage your money whenever you need it and wherever you're headed. Most of all, it takes great support. Someone you can count on for trusted guidance and to be there for you every step of the way. Great options, great convenience, great support for life. Great Southern Bank, understanding what really matters.
What rhymes with great?
Participate!
Where does greatness start? Here, in the classroom. On the stage.
In the pool. On the field. Where will your greatness take you?
To better grades.
To more friends.
Yeah! Be great!
Participate! Welcome back to Friday Night Live here on the Missouri Sports Network. My name is Guy Newcomb, the scoreboard guy. Glad that you have tuned in. Be sure to go to our YouTube page and subscribe. And go to our Facebook page and like us and follow us at Scoreboard Guy on Twitter and at Missouri_sports. So I think we've got a final now. Another final has just come in. Logan Rogersville defeats Central 48-12. And it has gone final of Waynesville is Willard defeats Waynesville 46-42. Checking the scoreboard here once again here as we await Coach Schweiss from Park Hills Central. Oh, and now my computer's frozen. I just can't get any better than this, but apparently I've got the audio fixed. So, hey, if you'd like to go to the chat room on Facebook or YouTube, you can send us a message or you can send it to us on Twitter, wherever you may be listening from. If you got a question, comment, or query, hey, let us know, and we'll do what we can to get those answered. We've got Coach Archer and Playing on Sports Kent Mueller is in the green room, so they're kind of helping out a little bit here. So scores from last night, Park Hills Central over Fredericktown 42-34 in double overtime. Fort Zumwalt East over University City 32-6. Hazelwood West over Melville 38-25. Burlington, Kansas over Miller 30-23. Also last night, the St. Francis out of Texas over Live for Life 43-22. On tonight's scoreboard, first and 8-man football, Lockwood over Jasper 64-6. Also, it was Archie over Rich Hill 64-8. We welcome into the show now the head coach from Park Hills Central, Corey Schweiss. Coach Schweiss, thanks for joining us.
Hey, no problem. Thanks a lot.
Coach, an incredible game last night, going to double overtime with Fredericktown. Tell us a little bit about the game, and we'll talk also about maybe those overtime.
Well, I'll tell you, Fredericktown's a really improved football team. Coach Williams got there last year. He did his second year there, and they've made a lot of improvements over the last 2 years. So kudos to those guys down there. They played a pretty good game. We had to battle the whole night, and our kids showed some resiliency at the end, and we were able to pull out the win.
Tell us about the winning touchdown, and what was the feeling on the sideline, obviously, with that score.
Yeah, it was kind of a weird game. It was back and forth the whole game. No team got up by more than one score. Went into overtime, tied 28-28. And actually, they had a chance in regulation and tried a 47-yard field goal with just a little bit of time left and missed it. So that got us into overtime, and we won the toss. We deferred. They scored first, and they actually missed their extra point. So they were only up 6. So we had a chance. We went down, we scored, punched it in, and had a chance. We really don't have a kicking game, so we had to go for 2 anyway, but got stopped on our 2-point conversion. So that's what forced it to go into double overtime. We got the ball to start the second overtime. We were able to convert on that one, and then we ended up putting the 2-point conversion in to go up 8. They come out on offense on their first play. They actually score a touchdown, but they got called back on a hold. And on the very next snap, Jackson Jones was able to pick off the ball and solidify the win. But I have to say, we put the ball in Jackson Jones's hands last night. He had 30 carries for us, a lot of that coming in overtime to get those 2 touchdowns. So he ended the game with 4 touchdowns, over 200 yards rushing and 4 touchdowns on the ground. And also threw for almost 200 yards and had 2 more passing touchdowns. So he had a heck of a game for us. And that's just what he did on offense. Like I said, he had the interception that sealed it on defense, but he also we didn't stat the game yet defensively, but I'm sure he had every bit of 20 tackles on defense. He was all over the place.
Wow, that's tremendous. Outside of getting a win, did you guys come out of the game relatively healthy?
Well, no, not necessarily. We were a little banged up. I think Colin Hulsey may have broken a bone in his foot. Jason Threckeld had a knee injury. We were already short an offensive lineman due to a team rule violation. So we were really shorthanded, but there's really no excuses because you still got to give Fredericktown a lot of credit. They, like I said, they did a tremendous job. Our quarterback, heck of a player. Have a couple linemen that are really, really good, and had a couple guys that we really had trouble with in the passing game. Had trouble defending. So they did a lot of really good things, and like I said, I always try to give credit where credit is due, and I really thought Fredericktown played a really good game.
Coach, next week you're at St. Dominic. What do you know about them?
Well, watch St. Dominic play tonight against Borgia. They're a pretty good football team. Obviously, a Class 6 private school up from St. Louis, and they are, they're big up front. They got one undersized lineman playing center, but other than that, they're really big up front. Quarterback is, I think he's committed to play Miami, Ohio. So really good quarterback, some really good skilled receivers and running back. So offensively, they got everything going for them. Defensively, it'll be the best defensive front that we've seen this year. So our offensive line will have their hands full, especially with a couple guys out. So it's going to be a challenge for us. It's definitely going to be one of those games where we're probably going to see exactly where we are with the 2024 Rebels because, right now we have a lot of growing pains. We're making a lot of mistakes, and St. Dominic's way too good of a team. They'll exploit those things if we continue to do those things next week.
Hey, Coach, at what point do you kind of start looking at the district standings? I mean, tonight was a big game because it was a district opponent in Fredericktown. At what point do you kind of start looking at those and trying to put numbers, just run numbers through your head, thinking, we need to get at least one home game?
Yeah, I really don't ever look at that just because we play most of our district opponents during the season, especially the ones that are usually the ones that we're fighting for those spots. So, St. John, Potosi are in our conference. Dexter we have on our schedule, and those, looking at it, and then Fredericktown, of course, but you looking at it, those are probably the top 3 or 4 teams other than us that are in the district. So most of the time, the points don't really matter. It's really going to come down to who beats who head to head a lot of times. So, I mean, you look at it just to see, but at the end of the day, most of the time, those things don't mean anything.
Outstanding. Well, Coach, I greatly appreciate on a night off, so to speak, for you, although you went out and scouted a game, but being generous with your time and coming on the Missouri Sports Network and and telling us about Central Park Hills.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate all the coverage we get from all over the place. So the fact that you guys, do that from way over there, it's kind of nice.
Oh, thank you, Coach. And hey, have a great night, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, bud. Appreciate it.
Thank
See
you,
ya.
Coach. Coach Corey Schweiss there, kind enough to call in on the show as they get a win tonight. It's over a Fredericktown team. You heard him talking about the districts there. Right now, they're sitting in second place in that Class 3 District 1, behind Dexter, who is 2-0, and I'm not sure what they did tonight. It's not been entered here on the board yet. Other members of that district behind them is St. Genevieve, who's 2-1, Potosi, who's 2-1, and then Fredericktown at 1-2, and then Herculaneum and Kennett, who is they're both 0-3. We'll run through the scores again here as we wait. Our next caller will be Coach Drew Smith from Archie, as they also get a win tonight. All right. On the scoreboard from last night, it was Park Hills Central 42-34 in double overtime. Just got done visiting with head coach Corey Schweiss. Fort Zumwalt East defeated University City 32-6. Hazelwood West defeats Melville 35-25. It was Burlington, Kansas over Miller yesterday evening, 33-20. St. Francis out of Texas defeated Lift for Life 43-22. In 8-man football tonight, Lockwood over Jasper 64-6. It was North Shelby defeating St. Paul Lutheran 84-22. Archie over Rich Hill 64-8. Rockport defeats Stewartsville 70-0. It was Plattsburgh over Schuyler County 46-42. King City defeats Slater 48-32. I'm sorry, King City defeats Stanberry 48-32. Slater defeats Sweet Springs 56-14. Worth County over at North Andrews 64-6. In 11-man football was Willow Springs over Kabul 14-13. Charleston defeats Malden 54-20. Elsewhere, Lamar over Tipton 44-0. Marionville defeats Skyline 54-6. Was Hayti over Scott City 32-20. Bowling Green defeats Wright City 56-13. Ava over Mountain Grove 20-12. Jefferson defeats Herculaneum 35-7. Was Brookfield over Highland 62-0. Mid Buchanan defeats Centralia, Kansas 41-6. Palmyra over Macon 56-14. Valley Catholic defeats Potosi 61-7. Elsewhere, Warsaw defeats Lafayette County 21-16. Blair Oaks shuts out Osage 42-0. Scores brought to you by Liuna, Laborers Local 663, Building, Missouri. Liuna, feel the power. Lutheran North over John Burroughs 54-7. Warrensburg defeats Moberly 35-14. Seneca over Nevada 42-0. And we'll be hearing from Coach Cody Hilburn of Seneca at 10:05. Eldon defeats Owensville 28-8. Southern Boone over California 40-0. Reed Spring over Clever 26-14. Borgia defeats Dominic 31-10. St. Genevieve over Kennett 26-6. In Bolivar, Branson shuts out the Liberators 35-0. In Carl Junction shuts out Marshfield 36-0. Cape Central over Sykeston 56-16. Harrisonville defeats Kansas City Center 55-14. Hillsboro over Washington 37-7. And in a defensive battle, Kirksville defeats Savannah 7-6. Elsewhere, Festus over Windsor 49-14. Camdenton defeats Smith Cotton 45-13. CBC over Chaminade 48-4. Carthage defeats Glendale 49-14. We have reached out to Coach Guide at Carthage to see if he can come on. It was Hazelwood East over McClure 35-0. Pleasant Hill over Oak Grove 18-13. South Harrison defeats Marceline 38-37. Neosho over Lebanon 28-14. West Strand over Fulton 26-7. Nixa shuts out Joplin 49-0. And DeSmet over SLU 23-3. Games on the docket tomorrow. Grandview will be at Cuba. Bishop LeBlond will be at Knox County. Thayer's at Mountain View Liberty. Parkway West is at McClure North. Lutheran South is at Priory. Kelly is at Rolla. Jennings is at Roosevelt. Miller Career is at TDW Prep. I'm not sure why I can't say that. North Kansas City is at University Academy. Fort Zumwalt East is at University City. MICDS is at Westminster Christian. Well, let's see here. We've got we'll reach back out to Coach Smith from Archie and try and get him on the line here. Continuing scores, it seemed like they were coming in late. I don't know if anybody else noticed that, but they were, seems like they're just a little bit later tonight. I don't know of any weather anywhere around the state. And again, if you'd like to join us, if you're in the Springfield area and you would like to join us at the Quarterback Club, it's every Monday, 11:30. We start seating and feeding. It's $10 cash. It's cash only. You come by. It's a buffet style lunch from one of the best, voted the best Italian restaurant in the 417, Bambino's Italian Cafe on East Battlefield at Lone Pine. Art Haynes is the MC, and I wish I had the list of coaches that were there or scheduled to be there this Monday. That is my fault. We'll refresh these scores here as we wait on Coach Smith to give us a call in. Checking some of the other scores from around the state of Missouri as we go to look at some of our other sources here. Lutheran North over John Burroughs 54-7. Hazelwood East over McClure 35-0. Raytown over Belton. Raytown over Belton 30-27. Platte County defeats Fort Osage 28-13. Greenfield over New Heights Christian 40-32. Eureka shuts out Hazelwood Central 37-0. Blue Springs South in the fourth quarter leads Lee Summit 37-12. Worth County over North Andrews 64-6. Winfield over Mark Twain 28-6. Festus over Windsor 49-14. Grain Valley in the fourth quarter leads Crispin 63-6. West Strand, we have a final there. Willard defeats Waynesville 46-42 as Warsaw over Lafayette County 21-16. In the fourth quarter, Warrenton leads Liberty 40-27. Versailles 20-18 or 20-8 over Butler. That's a final. Van Far defeats Louisiana 24-0. It was Sullivan over Union 35-14. In the fourth quarter, Truman leads Van Horn 29-21. Troy Buchanan, they defeat Hannibal 35-29. Elsewhere, Slater over Sweet Springs 56-14. St. Genevieve over Kennett 26-6. King City over Stanberry, 48-32. Albany over St. Joe Christian, 42-20. Herman defeats St. James, 30-15. That was in the fourth quarter. That game actually has not gone final yet. St. Clair over Pacific, 31-21. That's a final. In the fourth quarter, St. Charles West leads Hal North, 50-14. Stratford, as they shut out Springfield Catholic, 35-0. Southern Boone over California, 40-0. South Holt over DeKalb, 77-26. With Smithville falling to Kearney, 38-14. DeSmet over Slough, 23-3. Aurora defeats Monette, 26-18. And Herman, that has gone final. Herman defeats St. James, 30-15. Colcamp over Sherwood, 36-30. Scott City over Hayti, 70-32. Scotland County defeats Harrisburg, 49-0. It was Scotland County over Harrisburg, 49-0. Plattsburgh defeats Schuyler County, 46-42. We'll reach out to some other coaches who are expected to be joined at Maryville shuts out Chillicothe 42-0. Well, and I'm having all kinds of trouble with my phones now, but I apologize. We'll get right back to these scores. I'm trying to get a hold of Coach Smith to see if he's going to be able to join us. We will reach out to a few other coaches here as well throughout the evening as the finals start coming in. Let's jump back on here, refresh this page, and go through them again. As I mentioned, Cody Hilburn will be joining us here at 10:05. You're listening to the Missouri Sports Network at MissouriSportsNetwork.com. We greatly appreciate the 400 live viewers that we have on Restream. You can send us a message on Restream in the chat box, or you can send it to us via X or Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. And be sure to go to our Facebook page and like us, and go to YouTube and subscribe. Okay, varsity football today. Platte Valley over Mound City, 52-6. North Point over Timberland, 24-6. Ascuta, Illinois, I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right, over Riverview Gardens, 35-0. Parkway North, 41. Parkway Central, 6. Staley hangs on. They defeat Park Hill, 21-19. Southern Boone shuts out California, 40-0. Booneville over Hallsville, 34-32. Fair Grove, 29. Buffalo, 14. Odessa over Mexico, 38-14. Elsewhere, Seckman, they defeat Northwest, 41-7. Shawnee Mission West over Lincoln, 42-13. Blue Springs shuts out Raymore Peculiar, that was at half, I'm sorry. Elsewhere, Liberty defeats Raytown South, 41-12. In the fourth quarter, Lindbergh leads Ladue, 21-14. In the fourth quarter, Kirkwood is on top of Lafayette, 21-14. And we're happy to be joined now, Seneca Indians head football coach, Cody Hilburn.
Hey.
Coach, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Coach, huge win tonight, statement win, a big conference win. Tell us about that victory over Nevada.
Yeah, I was happy for our kids. I thought we had our best week of preparation throughout the year yet. I thought our kids really did a good job throughout the week preparing, and to see them it pay off for them tonight. I was proud of them.
Tell us about some of the standout players tonight who had some big games. Obviously, offensive line and your defensive line must have.
Yeah, that's a tough offense to defend. So I think it starts with our defense. I think I just looked at the stats and we held them to 84 total yards, 80 yards rushing and 4 passing. So I think it started there. Our defense got some quality stops early in the game, and then we were able to, I feel like, control the line of scrimmage, and that was a big key going into that game because they want to do the same. And it's kind of two like-minded teams that want to run the ball first. And I was proud of our offensive line and defensive line for kind of setting the tone. And then we kind of got 3 guys right now that can run the ball for us, and starts with our quarterback, Caden Klaus. And then we're playing 2 quarterbacks right now with Brody Probert. And then Roman Miller, our running back, and I think all 3 of those guys were either over 100 or right at 100 for the 3rd week in a row.
Coach, talk a little bit about, number one, did you guys come out of this game relatively healthy?
Yeah, we were nicked up coming into the game. We were down 3 starters tonight, and a lot of it just from the week of preparation. You got to have a physical week of practice to get ready for Nevada, and as a coach, you're always trying to balance that of staying healthy but getting your team ready to go. So we were a little bit nicked up tonight, but we kind of had that next man mentality, and we had some kids step up for us tonight and did a really nice job for us.
Coach, at what point do you kind of start maybe peeking at that, the district standings? I mean, right now you're the only undefeated team in your district. Do you kind of
I didn't know that, so I haven't peeked at it at all.
Okay, well, it's you, and then it's Reed Spring is second, and then Forsyth is third right now, but everybody else has at least 1 loss in that district.
Yeah, we always just kind of keep the mindset in our conference. I feel like it's such a tough conference, and you just got to go week to week. And normally, if you can get through that gauntlet of our conference, you're going to be in pretty good shape coming district play and playoff time.
Outstanding. Well, Coach, who do you have next? We've got Monette next week. What do you know about the Cubs?
Yeah, they did a nice job of turning the culture around there. They definitely have an identity that they want to spread the ball around and throw it all over the place. So it's kind of weird for us. We had to play Nevada this week, which is a really, really heavy run team, and then follow it by Monette, who's going to throw it 50 times.
Yeah.
Defense.
All right. Well, Coach Hilburn, as always, I greatly appreciate you being generous here with your time. Congratulations on the victory, and safe travels home.
All right. Thanks, Guy. I appreciate it.
You bet. Thanks, Coach.
All right. Bye.
Seneca head football coach Cody Hilburn, kind enough to join us here on the show. They're 3-0, but that was a statement win tonight, 42-0. They've given up 30 points in 3 games. You have defeated Cassville, Mount Vernon, and now at Nevada. They're back at home against Monette next week before going to Aurora Carl Junction. They finish up their regular season with Lamar. So that could be, and has been for a number of years, maybe the conference championship game there. And that game will be at Seneca. And I had the privilege, well, not really a privilege, but did get to play at Seneca a couple times in high school, and that is a tough place to play and always has been. We're going to step away and take a quick time out. You're listening to Friday Night Live here on the Missouri. Well, actually, we're going to go back to the phone lines, and we welcome onto the show Stratford Indian head coach Tim Hester. Coach Hester, thanks for joining us.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
Coach, big win tonight. Tell us a little bit about the game with Springfield Catholic.
Yeah, we started off kind of slow in the first half. Catholic did a good job defending some of our power game, and we just had to open it up in the second half. And we run a spread offense also here. So first half we just ran 2 back sets, and they kind of stuffed us a little bit there, bringing the house. And they had 9 in the box, and so in the second half we just made small adjustments and we took off from there.
Coach, tell us about some of the players that had big nights tonight.
Yeah, Ryder Ross, our running back, number 10, did a great job. Don't have stats for you yet because I haven't done them yet, but he had a great night tonight again. And then we had some of our one of our linemen and went out week 1, so we have a couple of linemen that's really stepping it up for us. Christian Monchagon is stepping up in that position, and James Stafford's stepping up in that position. So there's a lot of our lines really picking it up and doing their job. And Jordan had a good night. Had an interception in the first half. Something he's usually don't do the last 2 years, and he made some corrections, and our coaches made some corrections, and we came out in the second half and played a better game.
Outside of the linemen have been out since week 1 or 2, did you guys come out of tonight relatively healthy?
Yes, we everybody's healthy, and we should have some of our linemen back from week 1 coming back, so we should be fully loaded again next week.
Coach, making the transition, with the conference having changed, what, talk about that, and maybe some of the new opponents that you're going to have on your schedule this year.
Yeah, with our new conference, most of our teams that we play is, bigger teams, and we thought since we might be in Class 2, we might, move up in some points if we get some wins, but we end up being Class 3. So, I mean, our biggest opponents right now that looks on our schedule is Reed Springs and Fair Grove in our regular conference games. And but we got Buffalo, so we're just going to take it one game at a time. And we can't take Buffalo lightly because they can probably do the same thing that Catholic did.
Coach, at what point, and I've asked the coaches, on previous to you tonight with Cody Hilburn at Seneca and Corey Schweitzer at Park Hill Central. At what point do you maybe kind of take a peek at those district standings and hoping you can kind of line up for a home game or two?
Yeah, that's hard to, there's times I look at it, but sometimes I get caught up in it myself. And yeah, we are looking like we're number 1 right now in our districts, and it looks good, but I got to focus on one game at a time and just hopefully get to that point where we get it by.
With Mount Vernon and St. James, Salem, I think even, and Cuba being in these are teams that you probably haven't played.
No, we played Cuba before in the playoff game. I think it was in 2014, and then played them again in 2007. So we played them before. What was the other teams you said?
Mount Vernon.
We have not played them before, I believe. They'll be the first one. But they've been doing really good in the last couple of years. Cox has really brought those guys together, and it's going to be a tough game.
You bet. Well, Coach, as always, greatly appreciate you being generous with your time here tonight. Congratulations on the big win. Good luck next week, and hopefully we'll get to visit again.
Hey, I appreciate it. Thank you
Thanks,
for
Coach.
having me on. Bye.
Bye. Coach Tim Hester from Stratford, and kind enough to join us here. They are the 1 seed in that district, and I was visiting with Coach Cox earlier, and he can't remember a time where he's played. And he's been at Mount Vernon since I was in high school, and I took a little bit of time off there for going to the professional world. But he can't remember Mount Vernon ever having played Stratford. And that would be, if it ended today, they'd have to play Mountain Grove as a 4-5 game, and then they would get Stratford at Stratford if the season ended today. But we're a long way away from the season ending, and we're a long way from the show ending, and we've reached out to some coaches. We'll try and get some more on here. Thanks to Coach Hester for calling in, and we may hear from Allen Hilliard as well. He was at the Willard Waynesville game. I'm going to send one more message to Coach Smith and just see if we can get him on here before the end of the show. Well, it's 10:15 here, and we're going to take another time out. You're watching and listening to Friday Night Live on the Missouri Sports Network. Back after this.
Located in the heart of Springfield on historic Walnut Street, just blocks away from the Missouri State campus, Hammonds Field, Great Southern Arena, and downtown Springfield. The Walnut Street Inn features newly remodeled rooms, breakfast served daily, and a friendly, accommodating staff. The Walnut Street Inn is also a great venue for private events. Book your stay or get more information at walnutstreetinn.com or call 417-864-6346.
Hey, welcome back to the show. We welcome into the show from Archie High School, head coach Drew Smith. Coach Smith, thank you for joining us.
Absolutely. I apologize about that. We just got off the bus right around 9:50, and there was a hectic swarm, and I totally forgot to look at my phone again. So I apologize about that.
No, you're fine. Coach, you get a big win tonight. Tell us a little bit about the contest.
Yeah, we had a good win. We played well. We kind of knew going into the game that we were going to win, but we kind of talked about going into a game, if you know you're going to win, it's about how you feel after that win. If you played a clean game, if you played up to your potential, and you did what you came there to do. So that was our emphasis going into tonight. I thought we did that in all phases of the game. We got special teams touchdown, a couple of defensive turnovers, executed well on offense. Scored on the first play of the game, so it was overall it was a very good night for us.
Coach, I know you had a young man kind of get banged up here earlier this year, but tonight did you come out of this relatively healthy?
We did not. We lost another starter to a broken collarbone.
Oh, well, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it's been a rough start for us a little bit with injuries. But yeah, the second quarter, one of my starting running backs broke off a long run, got chased down from behind, and just one of those freak injuries where it was nothing dirty or anything like that. Just came down on the shoulder wrong, and just found out that he broke it. So otherwise, we came out pretty clean. Besides that one.
Who are some of the young men that really played well tonight?
Cale Snook, one of our slot wide receivers, had 2 touchdowns for us. He had a good game for us in the passing game. We didn't really get to pass very much because we jumped up on him quick, but he had a good game for us. And then my quarterback had a good night, making some good reads in the passing game, and also he runs the ball really well. So he had a good game. Defensively, when I had my outside backer had 2 interceptions on the night. He did a really good job of filling the hole on the run support, and then also making good reads and dropping back into coverage and dropping back into his area. So he did a good job with that. So overall, our defensive line did a really good job of dominating the trenches and kind of making them one-dimensional, and then the rest of us kind of picked up the slack. So overall, it was a team win. But those are kind of the people that stood out a little bit.
Now, with regards to your district there, you're in District 2. Will you see everybody in that district throughout the season? I know you've got Osceola coming up this coming week.
Yes, we will see everyone in our district at some point in the season. So right now we're sitting pretty in the driver's spot for that number 1 seed after beating our the number 2 seed right now last week. At home, so we're sitting pretty comfortable right now, but we got to finish, and it's a long season. So,
got the Osceola Indians next week. What do you know about Osceola?
Osceola, they're going to be a tough physical team. They love to run the ball. I believe they started to run a little bit of veer this year. They don't have as dynamic as playmakers as they did last year, where they had a couple of speedsters. So I think they're going to be more of a veer triple option team, the 8-man version of Flexbone. So we're going to have to be ready for a physical ball game up front.
Outstanding. Well, Coach, I greatly appreciate you being generous with your time here this evening, and congratulations on the win, and hopefully we'll get to talk to you soon.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on. And again, I apologize about that. I'll be better next time. So,
All right, Coach.
Thanks for putting this on.
Hey, you bet. Congratulations.
Appreciate it. Have a good one.
You too. Coach Drew Smith from the Archie Whirlwinds. They are now 3-0 in the season. They sit atop that class, the 8-man District 2 there at Archie. The other members are Appleton City, Rich Hill, Drexel, and Osceola. Going to go ahead and go back to that commercial. I had to cut it off there early because Coach Smith was calling and tried to go to it twice. But, hey, I don't care. Coach's calls will get you on. If you're listening, call us here on the show. Thank you, and we'll be right back.
Walnut Street Inn is located in the heart of Springfield on historic Walnut Street, just blocks away from the Missouri State campus, Hammons Field, Great Southern Arena, and downtown Springfield. The Walnut Street Inn features newly remodeled rooms, breakfast served daily, and a friendly, accommodating staff. The Walnut Street Inn is also a great venue for private events. Book your stay or get more information at walnutstreetinn.com or call 417-864-6346.
Imagine a bank that goes where you go, creating seamless solutions for every step in your financial journey, allowing you to manage your money the way you want to, with a banking relationship that makes every day extraordinary. Imagine a world full of possibilities, always within reach. Central Bank. We do banking better.
The innocence of youth. Is there anything any better? But soon they'll be in high school and facing all the same challenges you faced. How to make friends, how to fit in, how to be cool. We want our children to have everything they'll need to live fulfilling and productive lives. Make sure the kids in your family are among the more than 290,000 participants here in Missouri who take part in high school sports or activities.
Hey, welcome back to the Missouri Sports Network here for Friday Night Live. We've got several hundred viewers here on Restream. You can follow us on Twitter or X at Scoreboard Guy or at Missouri_sports. We're 52 minutes into the show. It is 10:22 here on this Friday night. As always, brought to you by Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks, Lyona Laborers Local 663, Doak Propane, the Bank of Billings, established 1889, the oldest bank in Christian County. Also presented by Doak Propane. Doak Propane in Bolivar, Missouri. For all your propane needs in Polk County and surrounding counties, see the folks at Doak. And Bambino's Italian Cafe. Hey, join us on Monday at Bambino's Italian Cafe for the Quarterback Club. We'll run through the scores here as we've got them updated. You can go to scoreboardguy.net or MissouriSportsNetwork.com and click on the Scoreboard Guy logo, and you get all the scores from tonight. High school football scores from last night. Park Hills Central over Fredericktown, 42-34 in double overtime. We heard from Coach Corey Schweiss early in the show on that contest. And have a final. Kansas State defeats Arizona 31-7. Only two games this weekend in college football and FBS level that feature two ranked teams, and that was one of them. Kansas State holds on. They defeat Arizona 31-7. The other one is Boston College of Missouri tomorrow. Fort Zumwalt East defeats U City 32-6. Hazelwood West defeats Melville 38-25 as Burlington, Kansas over Miller 33-20. St. Francis out of Texas defeats Live for Life 43-22. In 8-man football, it was Oric over Keatsville 48-14. Lockwood defeats Jasper 64-6. a lot of moving parts here in the studio, so I apologize for pausing every now and then. It was Greenfield over New Heights, 40-32. North Shelby defeats St. Paul Lutheran, 84-22. Northland Christian over Cornerstone, Kansas, 42-16. It was Archie over Rich Hill, 64-8. It was Rockport over Stewartsville, 70-0. Plattsburgh defeats Schuyler County, 46-42. South Holt over DeKalb, 84-34. Albany defeats St. Joe Christian, 42-20. It was King City over Stanberry, 48-32. Slater defeats Sweet Springs, 56-14. Worth County over North Andrew, 64-6. And your 11-man football, Stockton shuts out Ash Grove 18-0. Willow Springs over Kabul, 14-13. Charleston over Malden, 54-20. Lamar defeats Tipton, 44-0. Marionville over Skyline, 54-6. Milan over Maysville, 27-0. It was Midway over Russellville, 36-14. Gallatin defeats Polo, 34-12. Pierce City over Sarcoxy, 21-0. Scotland County over Harrisburg, 49-0. Hayti over Scott City, 32-20. Colcamp over Sherwood, 36-6. Van Far over Louisiana, 24-0. Central Bank of the Ozarks brings you page 2. It was Bowling Green over Wright City, 56-13. Ava defeats Mountain Grove, 20-12. Fairgrove over Buffalo, 29-14. Jefferson over Herculaneum, 35-7. Brookfield over Highland, 62-0. It was South Callaway, 28. Lexington, 13. Mid Buchanan over Centralia, 41-6. It was Palmyra over Macon, 56-14. Valley Catholic defeats Potosi, 61-7. Stratford shuts out Springfield Catholic, 35-0. Warsaw over Lafayette County, 21-16. Winfield defeats Mark Twain, 28-6. Blair Oaks over Osage, 42-0. Elsewhere, Lutheran North defeats John Burroughs, 54-7. We're joined now by Allen Hilliard from Allen Hilliard Sports. Allen, you had a pretty good game to watch tonight with Willard and Waynesville.
I mean, it was a battle back and forth and really nearly tied at halftime, but Willard went up with a 18-point lead in the third, and Waynesville recovered a turnover and fought their way back to get a 4-point lead in the game, but Willard came back with a touchdown and an extra point later in the game. For Willard, as in the last minute they traded 3 touchdowns back and forth.
In the last minute, well, that had to be exciting for sure. Any other scores that you've gotten? I know you've maybe just gotten around the internet, but any other scores tonight surprise you?
Looking at, I didn't see a final yet from Lebanon, but it was, I seen Neosho was leading that game. That was kind of a bit of surprise on that.
I think it was 28-14 was the final, I believe, but Neosho did win.
And then the other one, just the difference, 44-0 Lamar over Tipton. Another big matchup here. May have been one of the biggest small school matchups.
Oh, absolutely. Tipton comes in. They're a very good team, well coached. But it's Lamar. That's a different animal when you go down there in that part of the state.
Yep. And then the other one, Seneca, big win over Nevada tonight also at a bit in matchup of ranked teams.
Yeah, there were a couple of kind of statement games tonight, just from what I noticed. One was that Seneca Nevada game. The other one was that Nixa Joplin game. Both shutouts, both big wins for both Seneca and Nixa.
And we're getting to the point now where we can kind of see where some of these teams are going to fall in district wise. And really some of them, especially with the Class 5 district with Capital City, Camdenton, Rolla, Lebanon, and some of the others in there, Jefferson City, really the conference you're in can dictate where you're going to fall in that district tournament.
Yeah, and and another team that kind of surprised me a little bit is Branson. They've played really well here as of late. They get a shutout tonight over a Bolivar team that beat Harrisonville in overtime last week. But Branson comes to Bolivar and gets a shutout, 35-0.
Well, and that's 2 weeks in a row. They've had big games coming out last week at home against Camdenton.
Very good. You are correct. Well, Alan, we're going to jump off here for right now. We've got Coach John Perry from Nixon who's going to call in here just a couple of minutes, but maybe we can reach back out when you've had a little bit more time to look at some scores, and maybe towards the end of the show we'll visit again and wrap it up.
All right, sounds good.
All right, thank you, Alan. Alan Hilliard from Allen Hilliard Sports. Getting some more text messages here. Final, Lincoln defeats Crestridge 50-31. So some great games throughout the Ozarks tonight. And you're listening to Friday Night Live here on the Missouri Sports Network. We'll jump over here to the MSHSAA site and see what games have been entered at this time. And entered scores: Stockton over Sheldon, 18-0. Ava over Mountain Grove, 20-12. Blair Oaks shuts out Osage, 42-0. Branson over Bolivar, 35-0. Bowling Green, 56. Wright City, 13. Carl Junction shuts out Marshfield, 36-0. Caruthersville over Carlisle, Illinois, 45-6. Logan Rogersville, 48-12 over Springfield Central. CBC 48-4 over Chaminade, so that was not a misprint. So I guess you get two safeties. Charleston over Malden 54-20. North Kansas City defeats Excelsior Springs 38-0. Forsyth over Hollister 36-14, and we have reached out to Forsyth head coach Chris Conley. Central Park Hills 42-34 over Fredericktown. Fort Zumwalt South 35-6 over St. Charles. Harrisonville over Center, 55-14. Hazelwood East over McClure, 35-0. Jefferson over Festus, 35-7. West Plains defeats Hillcrest, 35-7. Brookfield over Highland, 62-0. It was Hillsboro, 37-7 over Washington. Kirksville defeats Savannah, 7-6. Lamar shuts out Tipton, 44-0. It was Neosho over Lebanon, 28-14. South Callaway, 28-13 over Lexington. Liberty defeats Raytown South, 41-14. Lockwood in 8-man football over Jasper, 64-6. Marionville goes to 3-0, 54-6 over Skyline. It was Midway over Russellville, 36-14. Milan over Maysville, 27-0. Lee Summit North over Mill Valley, Kansas, 26-13. Burlington, Kansas over Miller, 33-20. Warrensburg over Moberly, 35-14. South Shelby over Monroe City, 44-22. Seneca shuts out Nevada, 42-0. St. Paul Lutheran falls to North Shelby, 84-22. Oak Park over Park Hill South, 37-17. Odessa over Mexico, 38-14. Orchard Farm defeats Holt, 27-17. Osceola over over Liberal, 46-26. Eldon defeats Owensville, 28-8. Palmyra over Macon, 56-14. Staley defeats Park Hill, 21-19. Marquette over Pattonville, 32-14. Pembroke Hill over Kip, 2-0. Wow. Gallatin defeats Polo 34-12. Farmington over Poplar Bluff 36-33. Valley Catholic defeats Potosi 61-7. Princeton 66-28 over Pattonsburg in 8-man football. Richmond over Marshall 49-27. Rockwood Summit over Oakville 28-25. Kansas City Central 48-8 over Ruskin. Salisbury 44-18 over Fayette. Pierce City defeats Sarcoxy 21-0. Plattsburgh over Schuyler County 46-42. Scotland County defeats Harrisburg 49-0. Hayti over Scott City 32-20. Colcamp over Sherwood 36-6. DeSmet defeats SLU 23-3. Southern Boone over California 40-0. St. Clair 31-21 over Pacific. Albany defeats St. Joe Christian 42-20. King City over Stanberry 48-32. St. Genevieve defeats Kennett 26-6. Slater over Sweet Springs 56-14. Sullivan defeats Union 35-14. Van Far 24-0 over Louisiana. Warsaw defeats Lafayette County 21-16. Winfield over Mark Twain 28-6. And Worth County defeats North Andrew 64-6 in 8-man football. We'll take a look at some of the districts, and I posted some things out today for all the district standings. You can go to @scoreboard guy, and you have to go back a ways, but has all the district standings posted right there @scoreboard guy. And as always, we invite you to visit our YouTube page at Missouri Sports Network on YouTube and subscribe. And you'll know when all these shows are coming out. You'll be able to listen to them live as well. Well, next, as I mentioned, they've gone to 3-0. As you look at their district standings, they're in Class 6, District 5. And those standings find them atop at number 1. Number 2 is Joplin, who they just defeated tonight. And to that end, we welcome into the show Nixa head coach John Perry. Coach Perry, thanks for joining us.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Coach, a huge win tonight. Tell us about this game between the two Eagles, Joplin and Nixa.
Well, we got off to a pretty good start. I think we scored 14 and held them. And then we had a 4th and 1 that we were going to go for it at midfield. Had a snap that was bad, so they took over. Defense held. And, we ended up, I think, scoring 3 more times before halftime. So we were up 35-0 at half, and then scored a couple more after the halftime. But we ran the ball really well through it when we needed to. I thought our defense was really good tonight. It was just a good ball game. They turned it over a couple times, which helped us out. And, I think our guys were ready to play. We had made a lot of mistakes last week, so we were looking to get back out there and try to clean it up a little bit, But I thought our kids played really well.
Coach, how happy are you with that defensive effort today, and who are some of the kids that really stood out?
Well, very happy because we kind of got off to a slow start last week in the first half. Webb City had rushed for over 200 yards. We just didn't think we played with the intensity that we've been practicing with. So, they came out in the second half of that ball game, played really well, held them to 0 points. And then tonight, from the very beginning, came out and played really well. Parker Mann is kind of the leader of that defense. He's a safety, a lot like Spencer Ward. He's downhill. He's fast. He's extremely physical. Our corners were good tonight. Was able to hold the wide receivers in check. And, our front four has gotten better and better and better. 3 of those 4 are back from last year. And, I thought tonight they did a really good job. I know I saw the stats at halftime, and they were averaging about 3 yards per rush. And if you can hold somebody to 3 yards per rushing attempt, you're probably going to win.
Coach, did you come out of tonight's contest relatively healthy?
Yeah, I think we were completely healthy. The second half, went really fast because it was a running clock. So we were able to play our younger guys a lot in the second half. And, I think we are completely healthy, and we'll be ready for this huge game we're going to have next Friday.
Yeah, I was going to say it really just doesn't get any easier. You start with a Republic team that went to the Class 5 state title, a Webb City with the history that they have, a Joplin team that's very good, and now you've got another state-ranked team playing at Carthage next week. What do you know about the Tigers?
Well, I know they were really good last year. I think we beat them 34, maybe 28. We were up 21-0, and they charged back, and it was a really close game. I know they have a ton of starters back. They do a really good job of coaching high school football. They play sound defense. They on offense are just rock solid. They do a great job in the offseason in the weight room. Their kids are physical. They're strong. Like, they're as good a program as there is. So we knew going in, our schedule was front end heavy. Like, we've played some of the best teams in the conference on the front end, but we knew Carthage was going to be the best team on our schedule from the very beginning because of how many guys they had coming back from a team that was, ended up pretty good last year.
Coach, kind of talk a little bit about some of the things you do there with your podcast. I've really found interest in this, and I know this is a football show, but this is a coaching show. This is a motivational deal. Talk about what you do and kind of prop up yourself a little bit with what you do.
Well, I'm a lifelong learner. I wake up every single day trying to figure out how to, add some value to somebody's life, to add something to my own life and try to get better. And I've wanted to do the podcast for years because I'm a podcast listener. When I'm in a vehicle, I'm always listening to something. And finally, just over a year ago, I decided that, I've been thinking about it long enough. So I jumped in. And, what's been great is this. I've had conversations with some of the greatest people in the United States of America, and from that, I get a lot of stories that I get to share with our kids. I shared a story this week with our kids that I got from Allen Stein Jr., who was a basketball skills coach, had a great Kobe Bryant story that was fitting, for something that was going on in our program. So to me, it adds value to our program, like it's just great conversations that lead to stories and lead to things that, I can even use with our kids. And, and it's been a blast, man. Like, I've enjoyed doing it. It's, to me, it's been a win-win.
Outstanding. Well, Coach, I'll let you enjoy this one tonight, a pretty much a statement win tonight, but you're at Carthage next week, and best of luck, and hopefully we'll get to visit with you again.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate what y'all do.
All right, Coach. Hey, we'll see you at the quarterback club.
Yes, sir.
All right. Good night. John Perry there, kind enough to join us. And you need to go out. You need to go check out his podcast. And I don't have it right in front of me. I should let him tell what it was. But I'm sure you can search. Just search his Twitter, John Perry, and they'll be up there. But they're very, very good. And he's always been kind with his time. He's very entertaining and very motivational. But and as are most coaches. That's coaches, football coaches, basketball coaches. Some of the best teachers in your school are coaches. Anyway, well, you're watching and listening to the Missouri Sports Network at MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. Let's run through the scoreboard one more time, and then we'll take a break, come back, and maybe wrap up with if Allen has gotten home and been able to look up some stuff. We may wrap up with him. On the scoreboard right now, you're at scoreboardguy.net, MissouriSportsNetwork.com. Click on the Scoreboard Guy link, and scores will be there in the morning. This show will also play on Saturday mornings. We also have our high school game day that will re-air tomorrow. Typically, that's every Friday at 5 o'clock. We bring in coaches from around the state, and I do our Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks Athlete of the Week segment as well this week was a volleyball player from Bolivar, Megan Howard, who eclipsed both 1,000 digs and 1,000 assists. She's a senior at Bolivar, and her and Coach Kyle Smith were on before they headed to the Rockwood Invitational Volleyball Classic at Rockwood School District. And then we also had on the Lafayette Wildwood athletic director who set that tournament up. It's 27 teams in that tournament. All 4 of the Class 5 Final Four teams are there. All 4 of the Class 4 team or Class 4 Final Four teams from a year ago are there, and 7 of the 8 Final 8 teams in Class 4 up there in that tournament. Bolivar was headed up there to play. We also got to visit with defending state champion head coach at Lafayette Wildwood, Zach Young. On the scoreboard, football scoreboard from tonight, and again, you can message us right in the chat on YouTube, Twitter, or Facebook, or you can send me a text at 417-327-6914. Well, last night's games of Park Hills Central over Fredericktown, 42-34 in double overtime. It was Fort Zumwalt East over University City, 32-6. Hazelwood West over Melville, 38-25. Burlington, Kansas over Miller, 33-20. St. Francis out of Texas over Live for Life, 43-22. Tonight's game is an 8-man football. It was Appleton City over Drexel, 44-26. Bramer defeats Paris, 63-38. Hardin Central over Santa Fe, 80-20. It was Oric over Keatsville, 48-14. Lockwood defeats Jasper, 64-6. Greenfield over New Heights, 40-32. Was North Shelby over St. Paul Lutheran, 84-22. Northland Christian over Cornerstone, Kansas, 42-16. Concordia defeats Northwest, 37-0. Osceola over Liberal, 46-26. Princeton over Pattonsburg, 66-28. Archie defeats Rich Hill, 64-8. It was Rockport over Stewartsville, 70-0. Plattsburgh defeats Schuyler County, 46-42. South Holt over DeKalb, 84-34. Was South Nottoway over Mound City, 52-6. Wellington Napoleon defeats Southwest, 66-20. Albany over St. Joe Christian, 42-20. King City over Stanberry, 48-32, and Slater defeats Sweet Springs 56-14. Elsewhere, in 8-man football, West Nottoway defeats Tarkio 44-18, and Worth County over North Andrew 64-6. In 11-man football, page 1, brought to you by Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks. Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks with more than 12 locations throughout the Ozarks. Drive new roads. Drive a Chevy. And our Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks Athlete of the Week sponsor. Stockton over Ash Grove, 18-0. Willow Springs defeats Kabul, 14-13. Charleston over Malden, 54-20. Bayless defeats Crystal City, 34-30. It was Lamar over Tipton, 44-0. Lincoln defeats Crestridge, 50-31. Marionville over Skyline, 54-6. Milan defeats Maysville, 27-0. Midway over Russellville, 36-14. Elsewhere, in 11-man football, was Gallatin over Polo, 34-12. Salisbury defeats Fayette, 44-18. It was Pierce City over Sarcoxy, 21-0. Scotland County over Harrisburg, 49-0. Hayti over Scott City, 32-20. Colcamp defeats Sherwood, 36-30. Van Far over Louisiana, 24-0. It was Bowling Green over Wright City, 56-13. Fairgrove defeats Buffalo, 29-14. Ava over Mountain Grove, 20-12. Caruthersville defeats Carlisle, Illinois, 45-6. Was Jefferson over Herculaneum, 35-7. Brookfield defeats Highland, 62-0. South Callaway over Lexington, 28-13. Mid Buchanan over Centralia, Kansas, 41-6. Palmyra over Macon, 56-14. Pembroke Hill defeats Kip 2-0. Valley Catholic over Potosi, 61-7. Stratford shuts out Springfield Catholic 35-0. Warsaw over Lafayette County 21-16. Winfield defeats Mark Twain 28-6. Was Blair Oaks shutting out Osage 42-0. Forsyth over Hollister 36-14. Lutheran North over John Burroughs 54-7. Warrensburg over Moberly 35-14. Seneca shuts out Nevada 42-0. Odessa over Mexico 38-14. Eldon defeats Owensville 28-8. Richmond over Marshall 49-27. Kansas City Central over Ruskin 44-8. Southern Boone shuts out California 40-0. St. Clair over Pacific 31-21. Borgia defeats St. Dominic 31-10. St. Genevieve over Kennett 26-0. Elsewhere, Branson blanks Bolivar 35-0. Carl Junction shuts out Marshfield 36-0. Cape Central over Sykeston 56-16. Logan Rogersville 48-12 over Springfield Central. North Kansas City over Excelsior Springs 38-0. Fort Zumwalt South over St. Charles 35-6. Harrisonville over Kansas City Center 55-14. West Plains defeats Hillcrest 35-7. Hillsborough over Washington 37-7. Kirksville over Savannah 7-6. Liberty over Raytown South 41-12. North County over DeSoto 42-14. Orchard Farm over Holt 27-20. Troy Buchanan over Hannibal 35-29. Festus over Windsor 49-14. Camdenton defeats Smith Cotton 45-13. CBC over Chaminade 48-4. Carthage defeats Glendale 49-14. Hazelwood East over McClure 35-0. Neosho 28-14 over Lebanon. St. Mary's over O'Fallon 36-23. Farmington over Poplar Bluff 36-33. And Rockwood Summit over Oakville 28-25. And Willard defeats Waynesville 46-42. And Allen, any scores surprise you?
I'm looking at some of the St. Louis scores right now, and Lindbergh and Ladue, a very good ball game up there. And then the other one, Parkway South with a victory here over Webster Groves, another close ball game.
Yeah, the districts are kind of starting. You probably got to get through next week or maybe even week 5 before you kind of really start seeing the districts kind of play themselves out. A lot of teams, I was visiting with Tim Hester, the Stratford head coach, about their district, and they've jumped up to Class 3, which puts them in a district with St. James and Mount Vernon. And I think Mount Vernon's the furthest one to the west, and St. James probably the furthest one to the east. But that's a large area there for a district.
Well, you look at, for example, the Waynesville, Joplin district there, that includes Nixa, which is most likely going to be the top seed in that district. But then you have a couple districts that stretch from, the winner of that district will play Kansas City. So there could be 200 miles between those two teams, depending on where some of these districts fall. And even the smaller schools, you got a couple Southeast Missouri teams heading up to St. Louis for their districts.
Yeah, that Nixa district right now, it's Joplin's coming into today. Joplin was still in the 2 slot. Leaving today, Joplin is going to do no better than the 2 spot. But with Ozark and Waynesville both having lost, and I don't think I have seen a Kickapoo Webb City score. At one time, it was fairly close.
I was looking for that too, because it's looking like it could come down to a Waynesville, Kickapoo, Ozark, kind of how those 3 teams play each other, where Joplin is going to be number 2, and most likely and probably Nixa is going to be number 1 in that.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's removing Nixa. They've got Carthage this coming week. And I believe that Kickapoo won that game. I do believe Kickapoo has won that game. 26-23 was the final.
So that will give Kickapoo and Ozark the extra advantage, as Waynesville doesn't have a win yet, and each of them have at least one win so far.
Well, I wish I would have seen that sooner. We would have gotten Coach Nate Thomas on the air, but just happened to see that. So I guess they kind of shocked the world there. But what a game. What a game. And it was at Kickapoo, I believe.
Oh, absolutely. It's with football. You've seen it through the years. Anything can happen some nights. You can have, college football. We had the biggest upset probably in 50 years or so this last week.
Well, Notre Dame getting beat by Northern Illinois.
Yeah, that was, I can't find a bigger upset in recent memory. It's been a while.
Yeah, going back, I'm looking at seeing if I can find that score on the MSHSAA site with regards to that Kickapoo game, but I don't. Let me look here. Kickapoo was 0-2 going into it. I mean, Webb City was 1-1, but their loss was to Nixa. Kickapoo and Nixa. I'm sorry, Kickapoo and Webb City that was the third time that they have played, the first time being back in August of 2007 on week 1. And there's no score put up for that one, but then they played the COVID year when both teams lost a game, and they decided to play each other at Webb City, and Kickapoo won 38-10, but not tonight. The Chiefs will not be denied.
Yep, and that's kind of a product of the COC and Ozark Conference for many years, is really both conferences had full football schedules for many years, for the last 20 years probably.
Yes, indeed. Well, Allen, I tell you what, buddy, it is time to wrap this up and put it to bed, and we will talk to everybody next week. We've got a replaying of this show where you want to hear all of the coaches' interviews and our guest interviews coming up tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, followed by high school game day at 11 o'clock tomorrow. So for all of you listening out in Missouri or wherever you may be listening from, hey, we appreciate you being here. And again, go to our YouTube page and like us on YouTube. Go to our Facebook page and pull that up as well. And just go to the Facebook page and like us. I get that confused. You like us on Facebook, you subscribe on YouTube. So my apologies. But hey, you talk for an hour and a half, that's what happens. You get a little confused, but it's all good. Hey, thanks to all the coaches that called in. Coach Corey Schweiss from Cape Central, Coach Drew Smith from Archie, Coach Hilburn from Seneca, Coach Hester from Stratford, Coach Perry from Nixa, and Allen Hilliard from Allen Hilliard Sports. Hope you've enjoyed listening as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you. And as always, the Missouri State Highway Patrol reminds us to take that 3 seconds and buckle up. It's 3 seconds that could save your life. Be safe, be smart, and be here tomorrow.